Hey folks, Jordan with the Young Turks and TYT Politics, coming to you again from my horribly lit studio in Prairie Knights Hotel and Casino. It is not the easiest to light this hotel room, so you'll have to accept half of me. I'm a little dark on one side, a little light on the other, but that's okay. So lots of news to go with tonight. I'm going to try not to go ballistic like I did last night, but no promises. Also, just for your own knowledge, because I did see a few comments yesterday asking why I'm going live in the comfort of my hotel room instead of braving the elements outside live. Just so you know, this is one of the worst areas for cell service, for Wi-Fi that I have ever been. It's near impossible to get cell service, to get Wi-Fi, particularly at the camp. I haven't been able to get Wi-Fi at the camp. Once I was able to, and you have to you got to be like superhuman and twist yourself like a pretzel to get in the right spot. So the reason I'm doing live streams in the hotel is because it's the only place that I could get signal to go live. I've been outside and braving the elements plenty. And if you go to the youtube.com/TYT Politics, you'll see a video there of me screaming at police as they had their assault rifles. So if you think I'm just sitting here drinking martinis in the hotel, you are incorrect. They are also, the private security company is also jamming the cell phone signals here. They've been doing that for weeks. So pretty much this hotel casino, unless you're on certain floors in certain areas, it's near impossible to go live. So that's the story on that. So I want to start with Governor DAPL. You know, Governor Jack Dalrymple, his new name is Governor DAPL, who, the bottom line is we always talk about neutrality versus objectivity. I could objectively tell you this man is a degenerate. This man has no moral compass. This man is a liar, which I'm about to go through and explain why. That's objective because I've been on the ground. This is my 5th time, and he has repeatedly gotten away with lying. But the North Dakota press and the national press, because they try to be neutral and they're robots, they don't actually press him on anything, which you'll see in a minute. So the governor, DAPL, had a press conference today, but it was in a tiny room, and there wasn't a lot of press. Most of the press was, had the courtesy to call in. So he wanted to clear up because it was a misunderstanding about the mandatory evacuation letter he issued on Monday. The mandatory that he wasn't actually going to enforce it. So I'm going to read some parts of that and tell you the actual truth, since almost every sentence was a lie. So on the evacuation order, he says, an emergency evacuation order means, quite simply, we believe you are in a dangerous location. We believe there is a threat to your health and safety, and we're advising you to leave that area. So apparently, Governor DAPL, it took a winter storm for him to notice that people were in jeopardy. Their health was in jeopardy and their safety was in jeopardy. Apparently, he didn't notice that in September when human beings were bitten by dogs due to this private oil company that he's in bed with, unleashing their dogs on people. Didn't notice people's health and safety were in jeopardy in September. Didn't notice people's health and safety were in jeopardy on October 27th when on a bridge near the camp, people were assaulted by police. One 18-year-old's arm was broken, who I interviewed, a water protector. Upon arrest, she had her arm broken. Women were thrown into jail cells, illegally strip searched. People still have PTSD from that day. A little bit before that day at Turtle Island, which is the small river body that there's been a lot of standoffs between the police and water protectors. My 3rd time here, police were shooting rubber bullets at people. One nearly missed me, hit a journalist right next to me named Aaron Schrode. Apparently, the governor didn't notice health and safety in that moment. So whenever, if there's not snow on the ground and it's just the sun is out and his police are shooting people with, rubber bullets, pepper spray, tear gas, we could go on and on and on. Your health and safety, yeah, it's a little dicey, but you're okay. But the winter storm, this is the excuse he's used to issue a mandatory evacuation. So He said the purpose of it. The purpose is to, in essence, put people on notice that we believe they should move to another location. Oh, thank you for your notice, Governor DAPL. On blocking supplies, creating a roadblock. Which, by the way, yesterday they did say they were going to block supplies and create roadblocks, and now they're suddenly making it seem like it was just some misunderstanding, and they never were going to do that. They said they were going to block supplies to and from Highway 1806 between where I am now, which is kind of the hotel casino area, and in Fort Yates, and the camp, which is in Cannonball, 10 blocks down the road. He says, there was just a misunderstanding of exactly how we're going to use this evacuation order. We have people maybe trying to make comments about how much legal authority there is. That's an entirely different question. That's not what we're talking about. So whether he has legal standing to issue a mandatory evacuation, that's not important. That's an entirely different subject. What is important is people's health and safety. So I put on Facebook today statements I got from the Army Corps, which was a whole mixed load of vomit. They basically told me nothing. They said that the governor has jurisdiction to issue a mandatory evacuation on their land. I don't really get that because last time I checked, the federal government jurisdiction supersedes state government. So this governor would not have jurisdiction to do anything on their land unless the Army Corps approves it. I have written back to them asking, have you given him jurisdiction on your land? Of course, they haven't gotten back to me because they've essentially secretly been working together for the last few months. And then when you confront the Army Corps on it, they give you these carefully crafted talking point statements that takes them 3 hours one paragraph takes them 3 hours to put together to get back to you. So he says, just a misunderstanding, and we have people maybe trying to make comments about how much legal authority there is. That's an entirely different question. That's not what we're talking about. Okay. We're not claiming we have any special authority to do anything unusual. We will not be blocking supplies to people or food and water and clothing. Obviously, that would be a huge mistake, get this, from a humanitarian standpoint to do anything like that. Humanitarian of the Year, Governor Jack Dalrymple. He's so concerned because it would be a huge mistake from a humanitarian standpoint to block food, to block water, to block building supplies from the camp. Apparently, his humanitarian button comes off when it comes to allowing his police to fire people with freezing water in sub-zero temperatures, allowing his police to tear gas people in the face. A young woman named Vanessa Dundon, she is almost blind because she was tear gassed so bad. Was in a hospital in Minneapolis. She's almost lost her eyesight. I'm trying to get an interview with her. As you know, a young girl named Sophia Wolanski has her arm nearly blown off. So Mr. Humanitarian, Governor Jack Dalrymple, Governor DAPL, apparently he's a humanitarian when it comes to he's not going to block supplies of food, of building supplies, of porta potties, but when his oil police, frankly, his domestic terrorists, because that's what they are. Let's call it what it is. They're domestic terrorists. They're not police. Police protect people. They don't protect oil pipelines. So he's a humanitarian. So from a humanitarian standpoint, we're not going to block supplies. First of all, they said they were going to block supplies. The fact of the matter is they got such pushback, but now he's moonwalking faster than Michael Jackson. That's what this really is about. He goes on, all we're saying is we encourage you to find a better place to be, and we will continue to do that, and we want the entire public to know that this is not a safe place. No, we are not going to have roadblocks or stopping vehicles. Translated for people who actually understand human language, we want them to find a safer place, way the fuck away from the oil pipeline that I'm personally going to benefit from. This oil pipeline is the most important thing. Human lives is not important. People's health is not important. People surviving the winter is not important. People's clean drinking water is not important. People being able to eat is not important. But we advise you to find a safe place. Hey, before the storm, did you view this as a safe place? Because if you did, I would definitely want your IQ tested. We should have a citizen's arrest just because you're a fucking idiot if you think this is a safe place. And of course, this is all a smokescreen, and it's sad to even watch this live stream. This press conference was live streamed because the press is like sitting little puppet dolls. None of them are armed with any cynicism in their brain. None of them are armed with any anger in their heart, because to them, it's really just about, all right, we got to meet our deadline, so let's get the quote. Let's not actually try to impact anything. Let's not try to change anything. We just need to get a quote from him, get it to our editors, and we're done. We could go home, watch The Bachelor, watch Netflix. This is journalism in the state of America. Don't even get me started on the local press in North Dakota. I mean, I could go in there and teach them a thing or two. So he just wants to encourage you very gently, Mr. Humanitarian, for them to find a more safe place to live. Well, can I ask you a question, Governor DAPL? I know you're watching as you eat your grits. If you're so concerned about safety, why have you not plowed the roads north of Highway 24 on Route 1806? I couldn't get my car out of the parking lot here because there's so much snow built up. You have not plowed the roads, which your officer, your head of police, who's a stooge, deliberately lied and said he did. I have confirmation you guys have not plowed the roads because there are volunteers literally coming in to plow the roads because you are not plowing the roads. So, as I said last night, you're deliberately trying to get people to drive off the road, which last time I checked could kill you. Sub-zero temperatures, black ice, driving off the road on an incline, that could kill people. So if you're so concerned with safety, why aren't the roads plowed? If you're so concerned with safety, why is freezing water being used at all? If you're so concerned with safety, why have you not called in? Why have you not called for the federal government to send their National Guard in? You have your state National Guard. Why haven't you called for the federal National Guard to be there to protect people? I guess your definition of safety is different than Webster Dictionary and every person with a brain watching. Because you, my friend, are a fraud. You're a degenerate. You, frankly, are a domestic terrorist. That's what this is. Terrorism is instilling fear in people. And that's what you're trying to do. Native Americans have been dealing with this for a very long time. They've been dealing with this kind of treatment for a very long time. So they're kind of immune to your fear tactics. But frankly, I've spoken with a lot of non-native water protectors that have come here that are scared. I'm not going to lie. I'm not some Superman. When I go and yell at police and they have, Uzis on their shoulder, I'm not exactly confident. I'm a little scared. You wouldn't be human if you're not scared by that. So the bottom line is, you, my friend, since the press won't call you out on it, since your yes men won't call you out on it, since your big oil lords won't call you out on it, I'll call you out on it. You're a domestic terrorist. You are trying to kill people, either by driving them off the road, by not supplying them water, by looking the other way and directly instructing your oil police to try by any means necessary to get these people the hell out of there. Shoot them in the head, rubber bullets. It's rubber bullets. It's okay. If they die, it was their fault. They attacked us. Tear gas. Oh, a woman lost her eyesight. That's just the price of doing business. What's Energy Partners stock number at right now? Oh, a young girl loses her arm. Well, we send our prayers. Republicans love to send their prayers when their policies fuck up the country and kill people. We need to send our prayers. Now's not the time to politicize it, right? We go on. So he says there's no roadblocks. He's not blocking supplies. He did say yesterday he was going to block supplies. And again, he has not plowed the roads, which is a direct threat to human life. So somebody asked, why issue a mandatory evacuation if you're not going to enforce it? Because he says he's not going to forcefully enforce it. It is an official notice from the state, from the National Guard, from law enforcement, that we may not be able to help you in an emergency situation. Your health and safety may very well be at risk imminently. Because they've been trying so hard to get in there to help people after they fucking kill them or try to kill them. This is like the blind leading the blind. So he's saying we may not be able to help you. Well, let's look at it. A few weeks ago, after the police attacked on a bridge, then mysteriously a brush fire across from campus started. It raged for 4 hours before any fire truck came. Does that sound like a government and a public safety unit that's trying their hardest to help? This governor doesn't care about This governor wouldn't lift a finger if it was sunny, 98 degrees, and he was in a bikini to help these water protectors. He doesn't care about that, and he's instructed his police force not to care about that because they're not there for the people. They're there to get this pipeline through because North Dakota is an oil state, and North Dakota, frankly, sorry, I'm not generalizing all you people, it's a corrupt state. It's the wild, wild west out here. All they care about is oil. They're living in the past. They're kicking and screaming. They don't want solar. They don't want wind. They don't want clean energy. And they don't care if their kids and their grandkids are poisoned to death. So he says, it's just an official notice. You know, we're just giving you notice that we may not be able to help you in an emergency situation. The emergency situations that we're creating by assaulting you and nearly freezing you to death. We might not be able to help you. Your health and safety may very well be at risk imminently. That's the first thing he said today that I've read that's true. Because your health and safety is true. And I'm not trying to scare water protectors, but let's be honest. It's very cold out. If it says 28 degrees, it feels like 15. Okay? Pretty soon we're going under negative temperatures. So this is not like, you know, beautiful winter snowstorms. This is dangerous. People could die winter snowstorms. With the wind gust, with the black ice on the road, this guy's talking about, oh, we're just sending out advisory notices because we care about your health and safety. Yeah. So, now, again, I told you before he hasn't plowed the road, but let me tell you what his person said. So, a journalist asks, has Highway 1806 north of Highway 24 been snowplowed by the state? His chief of police says, Department of Transportation has been plowing the roads on 1806 all the way to the camp to provide safe access out of the camp for those that choose to leave. So this is North Dakota. The police and the government could just lie with total impunity, and it's just another Tuesday. They have not plowed the roads. I can tell you because I drove on it yesterday. The roads are not plowed. I can tell you because I've spoken with direct people coming in and out of this casino that the roads are treacherous and they are not plowed. So this goon, this domestic terrorist, is sitting there with a straight face, lying, saying So this is kind of like those like dark, this is like The Walking Dead or one of those like sinister shows where you have these evil forces trying to kill you. Or coming at you, walking like zombies. But unfortunately, in North Dakota, nobody sees it other than the Young Turks and some independent journalists. So they haven't plowed the roads, but they say they have. CNN is now miraculously at camp. They've decided to arrive. So maybe they'll, walk. Maybe they will walk the 10 feet to see that the roads aren't plowed and report that instead of this bullshit. They say this. They say this, we're too lazy and corrupt to tell you the truth. You figure it out. I can't wait to watch the CNN report tonight where they cover snow angels being made at camp rather than domestic terrorism being perpetrated at unarmed people. Because that's exactly what's going to happen, guaranteed. So, what I think was the most outrageous statement I'm about to read. The governor talks about he called for a meeting with Standing Rock Sioux Tribe. As of today, I have requested a meeting with the Standing Rock Tribal Council and discuss some of these questions that we've had for some time, but also to discuss in general how we are going to rebuild the long-term relationship we have with the people of Standing Rock. Get back to a place where people are good neighbors and people do not feel resentment for things that have happened in the past. Can you think of a more disgusting, vomiting, white supremacy, white privilege thing than what he just said? To get past some things, get past their resentment for things that have happened in the past. Those small things like your fucking ethnic genocide perpetrated by the United States government that killed your people. Such small things like stealing your land and then telling you you're trespassing on it. We want to close the divide and get over all this resentment, this centuries-old resentment perpetrated on the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe and their Native American brothers and sisters. Because I have white privilege. I live in the mansion over there. I got my oil shares in ExxonMobil and various other companies. This is just resentment. You guys need to stop resenting white people who will oppress you and steal from you and murder you. Good neighbors. Listen, if Hitler came back reincarnated, I wouldn't go to his block party. Okay? I'm a Jew. I don't mean that humorously. These are not neighbors. These are domestic terrorists. And somebody needs to call it what it is. Because I've been here 5 times. I've seen it. Honestly, if I saw one Native American with a gun, I would tell you, I haven't found one. I haven't found one with a knife. I found one with a prayer stick who was beaten to the ground, pummeled to death, nearly pummeled for dear life. So the governor wants to have a meeting with Standing Rock Sioux Tribe to become good neighbors again and, get rid of all that bullshit resentment. And how are we, and quote, talk about how we are going to eventually arrive at a peaceful resolution to the situation and restore the relationship between North Dakota and the Standing Rock people. Here's my idea for a peaceful resolution, Governor DAPL. Walk out of your mansion on state capitol grounds, walk into the police department, put your hands in the air, and turn yourself in. This is not a stunt. This is what you should do. Because you have aided and abetted war crimes, which I'll get to in a minute. That's the only way, and by the way, that's not going to answer for hundreds of years of genocide. So I don't want to belittle that. But in the short term, you should turn yourself in. Because you're not a government official. This is a joke. You're a terrorist. You're a domestic terrorist. And you know what? One thing Donald Trump is right about, and I hate to say it, this PC culture, if a journalist on CNN said this, he'd be hung at the guillotine. But I'm going to say it because it's true. So you should turn yourself in because you are not the top law enforcement agent in the state. You are the top domestic terrorist in the state. And you have let your sick, social Darwinistic infection guys cover your basic moral instincts, which I assume you had when you were born, but possibly not. So he wants to arrive at a peaceful resolution, blah, 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 blah. The next thing that needs to happen is President Obama. And I've done a few rants at Obama, but I'm going to say it again. At what point does President Obama, if you want to kick the can down the road on the pipeline, you go ahead. We'll fight you on that too. But at what point, for human safety, you keep talking about how Donald Trump is a menace, and you are huffing and puffing that America is going to burn to the ground if he's president. America is burning to the ground in North Dakota, and you're president. You're not going to do anything because nobody's officially died that we know of? So President Obama needs to send his National Guard in. President Obama needs to get his ass away from the turkey table where he's pardoning the turkeys and get his ass to Cannonball, North Dakota, to meet with the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, to meet with water protectors. If he wants to go meet with his domestic terrorist force and the police, do that too. And I would tell the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, I'm not your advisor, you do what you want, but if the governor wants to meet with you, the first thing he could do is move his fucking police off that bridge on your land. That they've been blocking the land. They've been blocking the road for weeks now. That's the condition that we'll meet with you. He also said on the possibility of calling in the National Guard, which he's already called in. The National Guard has been called into service a long time ago and has been in a supporting role for some time. Yes, supporting role, crushing people's heads in. We've had to make a tremendous commitment because we've had to maintain order, keep the peace, maintain public safety in Morton County as best as we can. If you're sitting down, if you have a gag reflex, disclaimer, get something to throw up in right now because what you're about to hear is very dangerous. And I think our law enforcement people and National Guard have done an outstanding job. They have been very professional in the way they conducted themselves. They have not antagonized people. They have not harassed people. And they have kept people safe. And that is something to be commended. Yes, I have a 10-inch penis. I have a six-pack. I could run a mile in 20 seconds. And I'll be the next president of the United States. How about that? Who's lying more? I'm going to read that to you one more time. I think our law enforcement people and National Guard have done an outstanding job. They have been very professional in the way they conducted themselves. They have not antagonized people. They have not harassed people. And they have kept people safe, and that is something to be commended. I mean, I could go through the list again, but by now you know the war crimes. By now you know them trespassing and standing on top of their ancestors. Imagine if Governor Jack Dalrymple, who has a name, Governor Jack Dalrymple, was called and said, somebody's peeing where your mother's buried. What do you think would happen? How fast do you think the National Guard would be in there? How fast do you think people would be murdered at that gravesite? So, yes, the police should be commended for shooting unarmed people in the face with rubber bullets, for illegally strip-searching women, for putting one woman in a jail cell overnight naked, for the crime of being a passenger. She wasn't even driving, and giving her a speeding ticket. Yes, commend them for producing mass hypothermia in sub-zero temperature. Commend them for shooting grenades and nearly maiming a girl's arm, which eyewitness account and video show is the case, but they're lying about that too. Commend them for nearly blinding a woman, a native woman, Vanessa Dundon. I have posted on my Facebook earlier her GoFundMe. Frankly, it's a little low right now. The goal is $200,000. I believe she's at $80,000. She hasn't gotten as much attention as Sophia Wolanski. Sophia Wolanski is a 21-year-old girl from New York. Frankly, she's white. I'm not saying that's why she's gotten more attention, but she has gotten more money. Vanessa Dundon, her eye, she pretty much is at the moment nearly blind. So she's having trouble paying her hospital bills. Whatever you could do, you know. You do what you could do. You could look on my Facebook page, Jordan Sheridan. I left the GoFundMe there. So, yeah, let's commend these people. We'll send them milk and cookies at the Christmas party, and we'll all nominate them for, you know, the Nobel Peace Prize. We should do that. He was asked, you know, were you trying? A journalist actually asked a probing question. Were you trying to keep people safe when you shot water cannons at people at sub-zero temperature? His response, I wasn't present for that, and then turned to his police chief. I mean, that's beyond passing the buck. These police are not doing a damn thing without this governor say so. But he wasn't present for that, so he turned to his police chief. So the police chief then continued with the lie, unpressed. Well, we only did that because protesters were starting mass fires. Well, unless hundreds of people are lying, the only fires that were started were in response to getting doused with freezing water in 23 degrees. Gee, I'd probably try to keep warm starting a fire after that. How that night began was a small few tried to move burnt vehicles that have been used as a blockade on Backwater Bridge, they call it. They tried to move it, and in response, the police treated them like they were fucking ISIS. Shot them with freezing water, rubber bullets, tear gas, grenades. I could go on and on. But they're saying the only reason they shot the water was to put out the fires. This is a lie. But this is like Trump's America, because Trump's lies don't matter anymore. It's become like this post-factual country where facts don't matter. It's like repeat the lie, 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 and the robot press will report it for you. I'm going to keep pointing out the lies. Hopefully one day it breaks through. Hopefully one day we won't, we don't depend on that. I know Elizabeth Warren is on CNN right now, I see, getting softball questions about Trump. And Anderson Cooper, I guarantee you, isn't asking her a damn thing on the Dakota Access Pipeline. She's basically doing a photo op on CNN, but Elizabeth Warren can't be bothered to express her dismay with the Dakota Access Pipeline. By the way, when she came into office, I know she liked to talk about her Native American ancestry. But when her Native American brethren are being nearly shot to death, are being shot, tear gassed, pepper sprayed, my statement was lost in, my statement got lost in spam. I'll get back to you next week.